Sun Tzu says, "Let your plans be as dark as night, then strike like a thunderbolt." During the Vietnam War, North Vietnamese General Vo Nguyen Giap prepares his Tet Offensive in absolute secrecy. And just like the master Sun Tzu, Giap puts his faith in his spies.
Sun Tzu places a great importance on spies, and in fact he devotes an entire chapter to the different types of spies and how they can be used.
Sun Tzu would have been impressed with General Giap's spy network in South Vietnam.
Giap understood that accurate knowledge of the enemy is worth 10 divisions. And so what happened was he literally had created a spy network that was unrivaled. I mean, every barman, every taxi driver, every taxi dancer, anyone who dealt with Americans was potentially a source of information for the Viet Cong.
The man who ran the taxi stand outside U.S. headquarters in Saigon is supposedly the chief of Viet Cong intelligence.
The point was, by simply overhearing what Americans were saying, what soldiers were telling girls, the prostitutes, the drug dealers, all of this thing, by collecting that information together, able essentially to predict the movement of American units. And as a result, as the study later shows, we didn't surprise anybody. They knew we were coming almost all the time.
With up-to-the-minute information on his enemy, Giap moves forward with his plans for the Tet Offensive. The element of surprise is key, but means nothing if his men aren't sufficiently armed. Giap's next challenge is to figure out how to smuggle in and hide thousands of weapons throughout South Vietnam. The solution is all Sun Tzu: deception and secrecy. Giap goes underground.
What we found is an enormous complex of tunnels that ran for miles and 3 and 4 levels deep. There were field hospitals below there, supply depots. It's where the VC and NVA would go to rest and recuperation. There were booze, gals down there, and some of them ran underneath American base camps.
The largest of these tunnel complexes is north of Saigon in Cu Chi. Stretching from the Cambodian border, it has more than 75 miles of interconnecting passages. Built by the Vietnamese in the 1940s and 50s, the tunnels were originally dug out of the hard clay by hand with simple farm tools. Over the next decade, the tunnels are expanded and fortified with zigzags and sharp drops to resist U.S. attack. The Viet Cong adds secret entrances, camouflaged ventilation systems, and booby-trap doors.
How in all heck's name do you fight in tunnels? You use what we call tunnel rats, which were often urban Irish kids, little, not I say little, but 5'5", 5'6", thin, but brave as hell. I mean, they go down through those holes into the tunnels armed only with a .45, sometime, and a flashlight. I mean, that's really war up close and personal, never knowing what you were going to find down there.
Giap funnels tens of thousands of Viet Cong troops through these tunnels as the Tet Offensive draws nearer. With just 2 months until Tet, Giap plays what might be his greatest deception. Vietnam announces it will honor the traditional Tet ceasefire.
Part of the deception campaign is actually agreeing to a ceasefire over Tet. This really lulls the Americans and the South Vietnamese into thinking that they can relax their guard, send troops home, and there will be no conflict during those holidays.
Now, with Tet a little more than a week away, Giap launches a surprise attack on the remote U.S. base at Khe Sanh. U.S. Marines fight back waves of North Vietnamese soldiers that try to overrun the sprawling compound. The U.S. is determined not to lose Khe Sanh.
Lyndon Johnson actually has a scale model of the battlefield built that he can monitor it on a daily basis. Even goes and takes the step that he makes the Joint Chiefs of Staff sign a paper that says the Americans will not lose Khe Sanh.
But Khe Sanh is not Giap's real objective. It's a ploy to draw U.S. attention away from the cities before Tet. Sun Tzu would applaud Giap's maneuver. Sun Tzu says, in battle, use a direct attack to engage and an indirect attack to win. In the art of war, you should always try to deceive your enemy. Pick a place you want to attack, then attack somewhere else to divert his attention. While he's distracted, capture your real objective. Giap has done everything he can to prepare for the Tet offensive. He uses spies, secrecy, and deception. The time to attack is now at hand. January 31st, 1968. Fireworks crackle. It's the Tet Lunar New Year. Suddenly, the celebration turns deadly. More than 80,000 Viet Cong troops carry out simultaneous individual attacks on more than 100 cities, villages, and U.S. bases all across South Vietnam. The Tet Offensive has begun.
The Americans and the South Vietnamese are shocked. They were stunned. They had thought the enemy was on his last legs, yet reports are coming in from everywhere, every city, every town, every base, that they're under attack.
U.S. commanders see the map of South Vietnam light up like a pinball machine.
I couldn't believe that they had moved this many troops this close to the cities, and they very patient, had taken months to position arms there and troops and give them cover. Amazing logistical